Hey everybody!
Hi everyone.
Welcome to week 3 of our Foundations of Wellness and Spirituality program. This week we're going to be talking about healing trauma, and we called this part of the program Lightening Your Load because trauma is heavy. With the trauma memory that we hold on to in our mind and in our bodies is heavy. It's heavy energy, and it does feel like a heavy load on our back that we carry around with us. And even when we don't know that it's there, something might happen. It might trigger an emotion. It might trigger a feeling, and boom, you're just in it. And so we kind of want to talk a little bit about that today, share some experiences, give you some tools that we feel will help you to not only in the moment ground yourself down and be able to identify when you're having a trauma memory experience, as well as stuff that you can do later, maybe when you're not out or you're not busy, to kind of revisit what it was that your awareness was brought to in that moment and heal it and heal yourself.
And so I think it's important to bring awareness to what it is that we're talking about when we say trauma, because maybe some of you might know what we're talking about. You might feel like there has been some trauma in your life and in your past, but it can be really subtle, and so we might think that, oh, but I haven't had any traumatic experiences or anything like that. But what we're talking about is actually something that can be very subtle. It can be an emotional reaction to an event that happened in our past. And we discussed this in the meditation that we're sending your way a little bit, but I'd just like to talk a little bit more about that to get some clarity. So trauma can be the first time that you broke up with someone, or it can be the first time that you realize that your parents are people. And what happens is there is something that occurs, and then there's an emotional reaction to the event that occurred. And if the emotion is strong enough and consistent enough, then what happens is we actually create a neural pathway. We create an idea or we create a belief surrounding that specific event. And so most of us will have certain ideas about, for example, love. We'll have certain beliefs about love that have been shaped from our personal experience with love. Depending if the first time that we fell in love, if we broke up with that person, how that experience was, what happened, it can shape all sorts of beliefs and ideas about it. And so really what we're talking about when we're talking about healing trauma is rewiring our brains and actually emptying this space in our emotional body and in our minds surrounding these parts of our life that are so important to us, like intimacy, connection, relationships, the way we communicate, the way we perceive authority, the way we perceive spirituality, so many aspects of our life.
The way we handle change, the way we handle stress, all of these things that can pop up at any given moment, all throughout literally every day of your life. And so, yeah, I feel like I kind of want to share a little anecdote real quick. Recently, I've had some struggles with being patient with myself and being patient with electronics and technology. And recently my laptop that I've had hasn't been that great, and so Berto and I have been trying to get work done on the computer, and I've been struggling a lot with that. And I've found myself in this situation recently where we were working together. He was working on his laptop, I was working on mine, and I got so stressed out, and I got so annoyed, and I got so flustered, and I was having this incredibly human moment. But it was more than that. It was it was more than just my computer wasn't working well. There was something deeper than that. And what Berto was able to walk me through was to really kind of get to the root, like, okay, like, what are you really upset about? What's actually, because it's not really the computer. The computer is, it's a situation that I've kind of attracted to myself in that moment to bring my awareness to a deeper issue. And what was that issue? The need to control, which a lot of us, I'm sure, can relate to. We want to have control over everything. We want to have control over our environment, our situation. We want to, feel like we have a good handle on things. And so that was actually what was at the root of my, my reaction, to that situation. And so, the reason why I wanted to share that anecdote was because, I think most people, if I were to share that story without sharing how we were able to kind of begin to resolve the issue, is that if most people can relate to feeling stressed out about technology, yeah, it messes up sometimes, or this, that, but actually I was having a very human experience that was rooted in something else that I needed to take a look at. And so what we want to point towards in sharing this information with you is to kind of take a step back from the situations that you have, maybe an interaction with someone or something that triggers an emotion in you, and to really ask yourself, what is this really about? What is this really about? It's not really about the computer. It's about something else. And again, be honest with yourself, really ask yourself, take a minute and be honest with yourself. And once you've gotten to that point where you come up with an answer, and keep digging, because sometimes there's a lot of layers there. Okay, well, I'm sick of having computers my whole life. Okay, well, what's beyond that? Okay, keep asking yourself, what's beyond that? What's beyond that? Until you get to something that intuitively you're just like, okay, yes, this is the root. This is what's true. Yeah. And for me, it was my need to control, to be in control. And everything else stemmed from that one root cause. So,
yeah, and so, like Rachie is saying, when you get to that root, that's a beautiful moment. So at that moment, congratulate yourself. Congratulate yourself for showing up for yourself and for being willing to take an honest look at yourself. It's the most important thing that we can do is honesty with oneself.
Absolutely.
And from that point, realize, what is it costing me? There's a benefit to these patterns because they're survival patterns. So there's something that we are gaining from these patterns. There's something that it's keeping a part of ourselves safe. But that part of ourselves that needed safety, perhaps when we were younger, we don't no longer need protection from it because we're adults now. Mm-hmm. And we can take care of ourselves. We can love ourselves. We can support ourselves. And so just kind of talking to your inner child and reassuring your inner child. For me, it would look something like, yes, Roberto, it's okay. We're grown up and I love you and we're supported. And that's the way it looks for me, but it might look differently for you. But just have that conversation with yourself and realize, what is it costing you in your life to maintain this pattern? Because sometimes we may want to hold on to these patterns that are limiting. But what's important is to take a step back and realize, okay, well, I am gaining some sort of safety, but I'm also missing out on some things.
Mm-hmm. Something came up for me just now when you were sharing that. I want to also shed some light on for all of you. We have a tendency to become addicted to the way that we react to things. We become addicted to our emotions. And it seems silly and it seems crazy, but sit with it for a minute and ask yourself, am I addicted to being angry? Is there a chance that I'm addicted to being sad and feeling like a victim? And again, be honest with yourself, bringing our awareness to these things, getting to the root of something, asking yourself, am I addicted to my emotional state of being? And really being honest with it. Taking the time, self-inquiry, if you will, asking yourself these questions and feeling into an answer that is intuitive, not the mind's answers, what your mind is going to come up with for justifications or excuses, or no, that's crazy, addicted to emotions, what's that? Like, all of that aside, taking the time to really be earnest. I love this. This is like a concept that Berto has really opened up my heart and my eyes to, is earnestness. If you keep approaching it with that earnestness and that open heart, it may take time, it may not, but you're going to get somewhere with that. Things are going to unfold, layers are going to shed away. When we bring our awareness to something, you can't ignore it anymore. There's no turning back. You reach that point of no return where, it's the choice is really yours. And the choice is always ours. And that's something that we'd love to remind you. You know what I mean? The choice is always yours in every moment. You can choose to get upset. You can choose to get angry. You can choose to stay sad. You can choose to stay stuck in that limiting pattern or belief, even though it's not serving you and it makes you feel like crap and it maybe possibly hurts your relationships. You can choose differently in that moment. And at first it may seem difficult, but with time and with earnestness, you're gonna witness a major shifts taking place.
And with that self-honesty, what's also necessary is compassion, and it's compassion for oneself. Because if we're not able to look at ourselves honestly with love, then we're doing ourselves a disservice. We really need to be able to forgive ourselves for being the cause of our own suffering. It's as simple as that. So forgiving oneself for being the cause of one's own suffering, and loving oneself despite that reality. And going back again to that inner child, when a child makes a mistake, you're not going to be harsh with them because they're learning. They're just getting started. And as we grow up and as we get these bigger bodies, we may forget that we're actually still children. And so we may be so hard on ourselves. But the reality is we're learning. And the type of learning evolves and it gets bigger in some ways, because when we're children, we learn physical things. But when we're older, we learn more subtle spiritual lessons, emotional lessons, and lessons on how to coexist. And these are more difficult. And so we have to be even more patient. Mm-hmm. Learning calculus is one thing. We do have to be patient with ourselves. But learning how to be with our loved ones, and learning how to be with people that are completely different from us, now that can be more difficult. And so we need more compassion and more self-love when it comes to that, more understanding and more patience. And so, dig deep, be honest and earnest, with big heart, with big love, big compassion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And one last thing I want to share is, the older that we get, the more experiences we acquire, and the more potential we have to pack on layers, to our, the load that we carry with us every day. And so, starting now, taking a look at what you're already carrying with you and lightening your load by identifying your trauma as it comes up, getting to the root of it, and then reprogramming that belief, which is what we have created this really beautiful guided meditation for you for, to shift that emotion that is attached to that memory, that memory that feels so real. The mind can't tell the difference between what's actually happening and a memory of something happening. That's so such an incredible piece of information to become aware of, so being really conscious of our thoughts and, awareness. I can't say it enough, guys. The moment that you bring your awareness to something, immediately a shift takes place. But the more earnest you are, like Berto said, with an open heart and a big heart and lots of compassion and patience with and for yourself, you're going to heal your trauma, you're going to get through it, and we're going to be here to support you along the way.
So take a listen, whenever it comes up, give yourself the gift of healing and take a listen to the meditation. And we hope you enjoy it. Also, we're alive and it's fun to be alive. So don't forget to enjoy yourselves through the process.
And don't forget to keep it light and laugh at yourself too. I mean, absolutely. Don't take yourself so seriously. This has been a lifelong journey for me to not take myself and life so seriously. And let me tell you, it's it's a good one. It's a good one to incorporate into your life. Like, keep it light. Keep it light. Even none of us are perfect. We're all learning every day. So, like I said, we're here to support you. Listen to that guided meditation, and lots of love.
Send you so much love.
Take care. Ciao.